Hi guys. Camera's a little crooked. Well, that's as good as it's gonna get. All right, let's get started. All right, friends, welcome to another week of Call to Homeschool. Thank you so much for all your awesome reviews and your shares. I love that parents are really just seeing that they have ownership of their children's education and just stepping into this possibility of like, hey, I might be able to do this. So I love that I get to be a support and a guide and a helper. So that's super fun. I have been spending the last few weeks really just diving in and using my own workbook and creating my homeschool year. And it's been really fun because I have a section in the workbook that is for teens. And so I just asked my kids the questions of like, what do you want with your life? And what does education mean to you? And all these things, and really giving them ownership of what their education experience is going to be. So that has been a ton of fun, going through the questions of like, what do we want our school year to look like, and what do we want to learn, and all those things. And now I've been putting it in the planner. And what I love about the planner is that I put a lot of space to write. And so it's been so fun. I'm halfway through September of creating it. Like, this is what we're going to do. This is the poem we're going to memorize in September. Here are all the things we're doing, all those fun stuff. So it's been fun to see me like really get excited about the school year too, right? I helped so many people create their school year that I thought, oh yeah, I got to create my own too. So that's been fun doing it right along with you guys. So anyways, that's been a ton of fun. So with that, my daughter Bella, she graduated early with her associate's degree in April. And so she technically would be a senior this year, but she's still, but she's graduated. So anyways, we were kind of just talking about what are her plans and what does she want to do, right? She can't move out. She's only 17. And so she really wants to focus on her singing and perfecting that and getting that better. I don't know if she's going to perfect it right this year, right? But be on that road to perfecting it and improving her voice. And so she has signed up for Deborah Bonner's vocal class, Your True Voice, and is loving it. So I don't know if you know who Deborah is. If you are in the music industry, apparently like everybody knows her there. I was like, what? This lady has been in my backyard, and I did not know who she was. So Deborah has an impressive resume and like has trained all of her children whose resumes are amazing, and the type of people that they're training, and having record deals, and they're on Broadway. And so just this masterful teacher of basically anybody can learn how to sing well. And she really teaches you to focus on technique in your throat and the way that you're singing and doing all these things to really become an amazing singer. So she is giving all my listeners and all my followers 40% off of her program. So I'm going to put the link to her program in the show notes, and also the code to get 40% off. And that code will be good through probably the middle of October, I believe about October 15th. And I think it's capped at so many people. So if you have a kid who wants to get into singing, you are going to want Deborah's course because it is amazing. So my daughter's only been doing it for about a week, and she already has a really great voice, right? And she goes, oh, I was doing some things wrong. It was going to damage my vocal cord. And then she had me sing, and it was interesting because she touched my throat or wherever she had to touch to feel if I was doing it right. And she goes, oh, no, you totally do it wrong. And that's why it's hard for you to sing high notes or do all these other things. And so Deborah can teach anyone how to sing, and they've been using her technique on people like myself who maybe don't have some natural singing abilities, that anybody can really become a great singer. So that's really awesome. You're going to want to check that out. I'm so excited that my girl is using me as a guinea pig. And when I do the stuff that she's learning, like, it completely improves my voice. So I don't know if one day I'll be a professional singer, probably not my thing, but I would love to just be able to have more confidence with my singing and whatnot. So I like that she keeps practicing on me, all the things she's learning, and she is loving all the things that she is learning, and just keep improving her beautiful singing voice. So watch on the grams as I continue to post updates with Bella and her singing, and anytime you can hear Bella sing, it's way fun. So anyways, that's fun. So that'll be in the show notes. So today I want to talk to you about a phrase that I have often said. I say it, I know I've said it in Mama's Members, I've said it in coaching, I was interviewed on someone else's podcast and I talked about it. And it's the phrase that you cannot mess up your kids. So that's what I want to talk to you today about. Is it possible? Can you mess up your kids? Can you not mess up your kids? What do I mean by that? And I really want to dive into that. So when I'm asked what my members, or people I coach, what their number one concern is, it's always with fear. And it's usually something along the fear of, I am afraid I'm going to mess up my kid. Like that they're going to resent me, that they're going to be like, I don't know what the fear even is, but it's a fear I'm going to mess up my kids. So I want to first address, like, that's awesome that you think you're so powerful. But dear friend, you are not powerful enough to mess up your kid. So how do I know that? Well, I know that because there are some terrible parents who abuse their children, neglect their children, do drugs, do all sorts of things, and those kids rise above it and become amazing human beings. Then you have parents who try to do really cool things and try to do their best, and somehow their kids get into sex and drugs and like things that the parents are like, this is not what we taught our kid, right? So even though like parents did different things, their kids ultimately have the choice of what their life will become and what they will do with it. But I want to look at the phrase a little bit more so that I can explain to you what I mean by it. So I truly believe you are not powerful enough to mess up your kids, right? Because if you could, that would mean your children have no agency to make their own choices. However, you can be your child's obstacle. So you can be the thing that they have to overcome. Let me give you an example. I talk a little bit about my childhood, but not a whole lot. So allow me to dive in just a little bit. My father moved in and out while I was very young. My parents would get separated and he would move in and out. I don't know how many times. And by the time I was 9, he was completely moved out and they were officially separated, and then took 2 years to get the divorce final to agree upon things. My father, while living at home, was very abusive. And when he moved out, he was hit and miss in my life. Well, he was hit and miss always. But especially like during those teen years, right? I didn't know what I would do that would set him off or all those types of things. So he was really in and out of my life at my teen years. And then even he's actually not in my life anymore, but like was in and out of my life through first married years as well. So as a teenager, as a child, I had no idea how to handle this. And I took it upon his actions upon myself. I got super depressed. I did different things, buffering, trying to cope with all these emotions and the things that I had experienced, and all those different types of things. Because I figured that I deserved what had happened to me. Another thought I had that there must be something wrong with me if a parent does this to their child or neglects their child. All these things, I made it mean a lot of things about me. So here I am. I've experienced these things and I experienced them for a really long time. And yet here I am, and I live an absolutely amazing life. Not a perfect life, because perfection doesn't exist, but an amazing life. I married a fantastic guy who's super sexy. We have been married 21 years, and we have 7 kids together, whom I adore. That I've got to homeschool them, and that I have really great relationships with all 7 of them. I love my yard. It's awesome with big mature trees that I think is super fun. I love where I live. I love the life that I'm creating with my family. I love the things that I get to do and experience. Like, I have created an amazing life. I have this awesome business and podcast, and I get to help so many people. So I have an absolutely amazing life. So my father's actions did not create the life that I currently live. I did that. I did that with the help with my Savior. I did that with help with really great therapists, great awesome life coaches to help me to get past those things. My father was my obstacle, but he was not the creator of the life that I have, if that makes sense. So no, you cannot mess up your kid, even if they tell you you can. You cannot ruin their life, which I think sometimes we say as a society. I think I could easily say like, well, if I got into drugs and I left my husband and my children and did all these things, and then you found out the things that I had endured as a child, that I think a lot of people would be like, well, she experienced a lot of things, that it's okay. But instead I stepped up into my own agency and said, no, I get to create the life that I want to create no matter what things I have experienced and gone through. So you cannot ruin your kid's life. That is up to them by their own choices. But you can be your child's biggest obstacle for them to overcome. I think about how many times parent issues come up in coaching. How much somebody struggles with their mother or somebody struggles with their father. So even though they're living a great life, they still have this obstacle and this hurdle of things that their parents did. I just was coaching someone the other day who has a lot of energy, and their parents told them that this was a huge problem, and that drove them crazy with all this energy that they had and all these things. And now their children have this energy, and she now gets to make the choice of, do I just recreate the cycle of my parents, or do I overcome that obstacle and tap into, why is that my kid's gift? How is this a strength in my child's life? How is it a strength in my life, right? So you can choose what it is your role is in your child's life, right? So you cannot ruin their life, but you can be their obstacle. So I want you to really question, are you a mentor in your child's life? Are you a teacher? Are you their guide who's helping them just because maybe you're a little bit further along on the path? Are you their friend? My son has been talking to me a lot about this lately, that he's just so grateful that we are, my husband and I, that we are his friend. That doesn't mean that a friend lets other people walk all over them. He talked about that his best friend, if his best friend was doing something stupid, that he would probably have an open conversation with them. And like, dude, I'm worried about you. I'm really concerned. But that he wouldn't go out and attack him, right? So he talked about how grateful he is that we are his friend. So is that your role in your child's life? So that when they reflect, and then now they're an adult and they're like, wow, my mom, she was an awesome teacher. She was so fun. She just listened to me. She was such an excellent mentor. What a great friend my mother is and was, that she just would listen to me and spend time with me. I've talked to another client who we've been working on just being interested in what their kids are interested in, so that when they're young and talking about Spider-Man, that they have that open communication, so that when they're old and they're faced with obstacles and challenges, that they still have that open communication with them. So is that your role in relationship with your child? Or are you their obstacle and are you their child? I cannot control my kid's outcome, but I can control me and how I show up. And I will use that control to work on myself, to work with my children instead of working against them. So friends, you cannot control the outcome of your children, and you are not powerful enough to mess them up. You can be their biggest champion and cheerleader, or you can be their biggest obstacle, and that is the choice that you can make. And I want to empower you to step into whatever it is that you want to be. And if you're not doing anything and just letting things go on, you actually are making a choice. Isn't that in a song? If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Because maybe that would look like neglect versus interest in their life. So I want to empower you that no, you don't have control of the outcome with your children and what they do and don't do in their life, but you do have control of your relationship with them. You do have control with how you show up. And I want to challenge you to show up as their biggest cheerleader and their champion versus their biggest obstacle. All right, friends, have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next time.